Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer brought to you on behalf of Forge College. Today, we're diving into a topic that is absolutely critical if you're writing smart contracts that interact with the real world, aggregating multiple sources and hardening consumers. Now, I'm going to set a specific tone right out of the gate here, and it's going to be just a little bit, enthusiastically paranoid. When you're building on-chain data infrastructure, trusting a single data feed is a literal recipe for disaster. We have to operate under the assumption that out in the wild, things will break, data will conflict, and single points of failure will absolutely be exploited by someone. So today, we're going to learn exactly how to build an impenetrable fortress around our data consumers. Let's get into it.
Just to anchor us real quick in our broader journey, you might remember that in our previous lesson, we successfully conquered smart contract interactions with ERC4337. Well, now we're pivoting to developing custom data consumers with Switchboard. But here's the catch. We aren't just making something that works in a pristine, perfect testing environment. Oh no, we are building resilient, production-ready on-chain data infrastructure. We're taking a working consumer and hardening it so it behaves predictably when inputs disagree or, when they just stop updating altogether.
Okay, let's dive into this and look at our engineering blueprint for hardening data consumers layer by layer. First, we'll cover the danger of trusting data. Second, aggregation, specifically median versus mean. Third, beating stale data feeds. Fourth, quorums and fallback strategies. Fifth, testing and debugging failures. And finally, wrapping up the build. All right, Section 1, the danger of trusting data and exactly why single sensors fail. So what actually happens to your consumer when a single Oracle feed goes rogue or just kind of falls asleep? Seriously, think about this. What happens to your beautifully optimized, perfectly audited smart contract if a bird simply decides to sit on your one and only weather sensor? I know, it's a funny mental image, right? But it perfectly highlights the sheer fragility of blindly trusting a single data source without any defensive programming in place. If your entire protocol's logic relies on that one isolated sensor, well, that single bird just liquidated all of your users. We absolutely cannot let that happen. And that brings us to a core philosophy that I want you to burn into your memory today. Treat each feed like a sensor on a system. Sensors can fail, drift, or lie. This is our brand new defensive mindset. We can no longer treat Oracle feeds as authoritative, indisputable sources of truth. We have to treat them as best effort inputs. We must always assume that feeds can be mispriced because of network errors, or hey, they might even be intentionally malicious. Moving on to Section 2, aggregation, median versus mean, or how we combine data defensively. So what are we actually talking about when we say aggregation in this context? Simply put, aggregation means writing explicit rules for combining multiple Oracle sources into a single, reliable value. This is our first major shield against bad data, and you're writing this logic directly in Rust for your Switchboard consumer. The two main algorithms we're going to focus on implementing here are the median and the weighted mean. And this brilliantly illustrates the difference between our two main approaches. Think of the median as your ultimate shield. It perfectly resists extreme outliers. For instance, if you have 5 feeds and 4 report the price is $10, but one suddenly reports the price is $1 million because of some glitch, the median just completely ignores that crazy outlier feed. It slices it right off. A weighted mean, on the other hand, lets you assign a specific mathematical weight to highly trusted sources. That way, their values influence the final number way more heavily than the less reliable sources. Let's break this down with a quick mechanical blueprint table to help you, as the developer, choose the exact rate algorithm for your specific use case. If you look at the median row, you're going to prefer this when you expect noisy or adversarial data. Why? Because it resists a single bad feed. The trade-off, though, is that it ignores magnitude differences, so you might lose some of that small sample information. Now, check out weighted mean. You'd use this when your sources have known operational differences in reliability, but the massive trade-off here is that your smart contract is highly vulnerable if your assigned weights are wrong, or worse, if they get manipulated. All right, Section 3, beating stale data feeds by checking the expiration date. So staleness detection means actively verifying a feed's publish time and its confidence metadata before you ever allow it to be calculated into your aggregation. Think about it like this. Even if you have the most mathematically perfect weighted mean algorithm, it is completely useless. Actually, scratch that. It's straight up dangerous if your Oracle is handing you data that's 4 hours late. It's literally like pouring expired milk into a perfectly good cake batter. The whole thing is ruined.
So, the crucial point is how we gate data inclusion using a strict staleness threshold, and that logic lies in a simple check fresh. We are explicitly comparing the Oracle's publish time against the current timestamp, and checking if it exceeds our threshold sex limit. If a feed does not pass this liveness check, it is entirely excluded from the aggregation logic. No exceptions. Moving into Section 4, Quorums and Fallbacks. Requiring a majority vote. Here is our ultimate failsafe so one broken sensor doesn't ruin the whole system. We implement a quorum. A quorum is a required minimum number of live, valid feeds needed to execute a state transition. You can essentially think of it as requiring a majority vote. If you're querying 3 oracles, your quorum might be set to 2. You need at least 2 out of those 3 feeds to be fresh, valid, and returning a number for you to safely proceed with your smart contracts logic.
But wait, what happens if you just don't hit that quorum? Like 2 out of 3 of your sensors just drop offline. Your smart contract must execute a fallback strategy. You have a few solid options here. You can return a safely cached previous value, you can raise a program-level error to just completely abort the transaction, or you can emit a log event to trigger some off-chain alerting. The golden rule we are following here is emphasizing safe behavior over forced execution. If the data is bad, do not force the execution. Just don't do it. All right, Section 5, testing and debugging failures. Yep, we are breaking it on purpose.
Let's move to and see how this builds systematically into a hands-on testing workflow. Step 1. You write deterministic unit tests feeding synthetic, highly conflicting oracle values straight into your Rust helpers. Step 2. You simulate time advancing to test those staleness checks we talked about. Step 3. You intentionally fail the quorum and make sure the fallback routing catches the error like it's supposed to. Step 4. You run full integration tests on a mainnet fork. And finally, Step 5. You generate your final debug report.
And I cannot stress this enough. That debug report is incredibly important. It's a compact, fully auditable artifact that documents the exact failure logs you reproduced, the exact code fixes you applied, and the final passing validation tests. Why go through all this trouble? Because it provides absolutely phenomenal value for security reviews, and it perfectly prepares your code for continuous CI pipeline monitoring, which, spoiler alert, is exactly what we'll be covering in a future lesson.
Finally, Section 6, wrapping up the build and achieving the resilient consumer. To recap our fully hardened consumer architecture, here are your 3 concrete defensive principles to walk away with today. First, prefer robust aggregators like the median to protect yourself against crazy outliers. Second, always enforce liveness and verify metadata. Do not let stale data ruin your math. And third, require strict quorum semantics. If you don't have enough valid data, fall back safely. So I want to leave you with this somewhat provocative thought as you head back to your code editors. If all your Oracle sensors completely failed right this second, would your smart contract survive safely, or would it just self-destruct? It's a question every single Web3 developer needs to be able to answer with total confidence. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer created by Forge College. I highly encourage you to go visit forge.college to dive much deeper into this subject, get your hands on the code, and explore a ton of other incredible Web3 related topics. Keep building defensively, stay paranoid, and I will see you next time.